Keith Sweat was introduced to the public at large in September of 1987 when his single I Want Her was released. His new fans would get a full dose of Sweat when his album Make It Last Forever was released 2 months later. Fans of his music have been clamoring for more ever since. As one of the originators of the New Jack Swing style of music, with a career that spanned over 40 years and counting, Sweat stands as one of the OGs of R&B music. Keith Sweat was born July 22, 1961 in Harlem, New York, to Charles and Juanita. Charles passed away in 1973, which left Juanita to raise 5 children on her own. Keith grew up just 2 blocks away from the Apollo Theater, and when he was 14, he began performing with the group Jamila. They did shows throughout New York as well as in the surrounding states, Connecticut and New Jersey. While he was still in that group, Keith began attending school at City College of New York, and he later graduated with a degree in communications. Beginning when he was 21, Sweat started working on Wall Street. He initially started in the mailroom at Payne Webber, but Keith credits a broker who took him under his wing with helping him to become a broker himself. Sweat eventually became a supervisor for the New York Mercantile Exchange. In 1984, Keith decided to leave Jamila and go solo. He signed with Stadium Records, where in 1985 he released the singles My Mind Is Made Up and Lucky 7. While on the label, he also wrote and produced the song You Are the One for Me for the group GQ. Meanwhile, he was also performing in clubs. Later, he was signed to Ventertainment Records. The label had a distribution deal with Elektra Records. The president of Ventertainment, Vincent Davis, brought Keith to Elektra's attention. Later, Sweat would say that if he had taken his demo directly to Elektra, they would have turned him down. He also credited Davis with being in touch with knowing Keith's style, while also knowing and understanding what the public wanted to hear. Keith initially got his record deal with Elektra off the song Don't Stop Your Love. Elektra immediately wanted to put it out as a single. Keith wanted to work with Teddy Riley, so he went to see him about producing a song. Riley, who at that time only produced rap music, told Keith he didn't know anything about R&B. However, Sweat told him to, listen man, just put some hip-hop beats with the R&B melody on the cut. This arguably was the beginning of the New Jack Swing sound. Co-writing 6 songs between the two of them, the duo worked on completing Keith's debut album. The result, Make It Last Forever, was released in November of 1987, and it was a smash, as it went number 1 on the R&B charts while also going triple platinum. All 4 singles from the album, Don't Stop Your Love, I Want Her, Make It Last Forever, featuring Jacci McGhee, and Something Just Ain't Right, all hit the R&B top 10. Listen, if you were a young person at that time, you had a tape of this. If you didn't have a tape, if you were more advanced and you had CDs, you had a CD copy of that. And if you were like some people, you had one of each. That's how hot this album was. Now, while all this was going on, Keith still held on to his day job. In fact, when the single I Want Her hit number 1, Dude was on leave of absence from Payne Webber. Meanwhile, Keith had another song that he'd co-written with Teddy Riley that narrowly missed being on his debut album. The name of the song was Just Got Paid. Sweat later reflected that the lyrics to the song were based on his time working on the stock market. Initially, the song was supposed to be on Keith's debut album. However, the album was already completed, so Just Got Paid didn't make the cut. One day, Keith ran into Johnny Kemp in the streets. The two of them already knew each other from back in the day, and Sweat told Kemp that, listen man, you should record this cut Just Got Paid. My album is so tight, I didn't even have room for it, but I'm sure you got plenty of room. Okay, he didn't say that last part, but you understand. Reflecting on this time, Keith says that he knew Johnny went to the recording studio, but he didn't know whether he'd actually recorded the song or not. Shortly after that meeting they had in the street, Sweat went out on tour, But while he was out there, he began to hear about this hot new song called Just Got Paid that was being played everywhere. Initially, he was happy, thinking, hey man, me and Teddy did it again. We got another hit on our hands. However, when Keith checked out the Billboard charts, he didn't see his name anywhere on the credits for the song. Instead, Gene Griffin and Johnny Kemp were credited as co-writers. Wanting to find out what was up, he called Kemp, and Johnny told him that Gene Griffin said that if Keith Sweat had anything to do with the song, Johnny wasn't going to be able to record it. Keith wasn't feeling that explanation, but he told Kemp, don't worry about it, and that he would handle the situation. Sweat went and got this dude named Bill Underwood, who was an artist manager. One of the people he managed was Johnny Gill, but he was also a street dude. And both of them got together, they went to see Gene Griffin. Now, this is where things they're not cleared up, but you get an understanding. All Keith would say is that without providing additional details, he just said that Bill handled the situation. Sweat took his time for his next LP, as it would be nearly 3 years before his second album hit streets. I'll Give All My Love to You was released in June of 1990. The album went #1 on the R&B charts, while also going double platinum. Additionally, the singles Make You Sweat and I'll Give All My Love to You both went #1. Merry-Go-Round of Love and Your Love Part 2 both made it into the top 5. His next album, Keep It Comin', followed in November of 1991. That album also went #1 and also went platinum. The title song went #1 too, while Why Me Baby, featuring LL Cool J, and I Wanna Love You Down both made it into the top 20. Around this time, Keith made a cameo in the movie New Jack City while performing his song There You Go Telling Me No Again. The song initially appeared on the New Jack City motion picture soundtrack, then on his Keep It Comin' LP. Never wanted to let grass grow under his feet. Also around this time, looking to expand his musical empire, Keith discovered the R&B group Silk. Their debut album, Lose Control, was released in November 1992. Keith produced the album and also wrote or co-wrote 7 of the songs, including the #1 smash, Freak Me. He also discovered the group Kut Klose, and he produced their debut album, titled Surrender, in 1995. Before the release of Kut Klose's album, Keith released his 4th album, Get Up On It, in June of 1994. The album went #1, as usual, while also going platinum, again, as usual. The singles How Do You Like It, featuring Lisa Left Eye Lopez, and Get Up On It, featuring Kut Klose, both hit the top 20. In 1994, he also produced the track Don't Cry for the R&B duo Men at Large. Keith's biggest selling album, titled Keith Sweat, was released in June of 1996. The album went #1 while going quadruple platinum. 2 of the singles, Twisted, featuring Kut Klose, and Nobody, featuring Athena Cage from Kut Klose, went #1. Also in 1996, Keith produced 2 songs for the group Dru Hill. He also produced the Isley Brothers' Slow Is the Way. We're going to take a minute from our story to ask you to like, subscribe, share, comment, hit that notification bell, and repeat when it comes to our videos. Now, back to our story. In 1997, Keith decided to do the group thing, as he initiated the idea to create a supergroup of sorts. Initially, the group was to include himself, Gerald, Levert, and R. Kelly. However, for whatever reason, R. Kelly changed his mind, and he was replaced by Johnny Gill. The result was the group LSG, who released their debut album, Levert Sweat Gill, in November of 1997. The album went double platinum, while the single My Body went #1. Keith's 1998 album, Still in the Game, will be the first time one of his solo albums didn't hit #1. He was in a slump. This one only made it to #2. The LP also went platinum, and the singles Come Get With Me, featuring Snoop Dogg, and I'm Not Ready both made it into the top 20. The new millennium would see something happen to Keith that is inevitable for any artist. The hits dried up. That's not to say that he wasn't making good quality music, so your Keith Sweat fans, calm down. We're not saying that he was a bum, but the days of platinum albums and #1 songs were behind him. His 2000 album, Didn't See Me Coming, went gold. However, neither of the singles hit the top 30. Over the next 2 decades, Keith would release 7 more albums, the last being Playing for Keeps in 2018. None of the singles from any of those albums cracked the top 20. However, in 2024, he released the non-album single Lay You Down, which hit the top 20. In August of 2024, Keith got the key to the city of New York. In a funny turn of events, not long before that happened, Diddy had recently been asked to return his key to the city back to New York following the release of the video that showed his assault on the singer Cassie. In interviews, some of the people kidded Sweat that the key that he got was Diddy's old key, and Diddy's name had been crossed out, and they wrote Keith's name on there and get a key to him. He was good-natured about it, and despite the jokes, Keith was thankful for the award. As he reflected, he hadn't gotten many awards in his career, primarily in his mind because he doesn't play the games that it takes to get those type of things. In fact, in Keith's career, the only awards that he's won are 2 American Music Awards in 1991 and 1997, and the Soul Train Music Legend Award in 2012. As he always has, even in his 60s, Keith is still staying busy. He's currently on tour right now, and he hosts his syndicated Sweat Hotel radio show. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, the show features Keith playing slow jams, and he also takes phone calls and dedications from people that are fans. He gives relationship advice as well, and he interviews people from time to time, and some of the people that he's had on there have been Hillary Clinton, Johnny Gill, Maxwell, and Tyrese. Keith also has a line of platinum status luxury bags. He sells Candles by Keith, and he's also the co-founder of the Twisted Pie Pizza franchise. But before we go on, let's get back to his luxury bags for a minute. For how much those bags cost, they need to be called something else besides platinum. What's higher than platinum? Diamond? Rhodium? Listen, one of his full-size Weekender style bags will set you back about 2 bands. I know some of y'all got that kind of money, but yeah, that's a lot. Now for his candles, wow, a 10-ounce candle will set you back $75. But on the plus side, you get free shipping, but that's only as long as you don't live in Alaska, Hawaii, or Puerto Rico. At that price for those candles, you can't even afford the matches that it takes to light the candles. All you're going to be able to do is just sniff them. You can't. Anyway, let me stop. But we had to give y'all the full scoop. You know how we do, because we always tell you what you need to know. Anyway, back to the story. Now, for those of you out there who talk about how Keith always be begging in his songs, for all y'all, he has a short and simple message for you. The begging works. With over 25 million records sold over his career, he ain't lying, y'all. Happy birthday, Keith. Since it's his birthday, we won't talk about his recent comments about how he thinks there's a trend of entitled women who don't contribute equally in relationships. That's another discussion for another time. By the way, for those of you who may be wondering, what happened to that chick who sang on Make It Last Forever with Keith? We got you covered. Check out our video on Jacci McGhee, and it'll answer that question for you. What's your favorite Keith Sweat song? What's your favorite album of his? Let us know in the comments. Thank you all for checking out our video. We appreciate you spending time with us, and we have other videos that need love too. Take time to check those out as well. Thanks again, and see you soon.